Hello, beautiful one. There is a definitely thing like good sex or bad sex, and in this video, I'm going to share with you the entire physics of the sex and with Albert Einstein's parable. And also, I want to declare before saying anything that this video is not intended for the youngsters, especially the teenagers, but for the adults. But it is not our body that makes us adult. It is you, the real you. What makes you adult? That you create your own destiny. That by your own values you define your own individuality and I'm going to speak about you in this video. Then you become adult. What happened in the sex? Is sex really a pleasure? In this video also I'm not going to speak on sin or ethics or religion or the teaching, but the most obvious experience of all of us. So I request you to stay with me for a few moments because your presence is very precious for me. So what happens in sex? Most of us feel that sex is a pleasure, but I want to tell you one experiment to start with that you don't have to do, because in this experiment somebody is eating lots of ice, and then what happens when we eat lots of ice? That our teeth gives us some pain. But why? The reason is this, that our teeth want to retain or regain its natural heat, and the blood flows to make it hot again. Then the flow of blood brings the pain. But in sex too, there is a flow of blood, but instead of giving the pain, it gives us the pleasure. And to understand this pleasure, we have the physics of the sex for you here, and we have the greatest physicist, Albert Einstein, to understand through him, through his life, this phenomenon of sex. And I introduce you with a term about which you know very well. It is seduction. I have seen a documentary in which there is a Russian girl who was there to seduce him, Mr. Einstein, to draw out of him some valuable info about the atomic bomb, etc., or the information about the defense or about his research. But the point to be noted is to draw out. Note it down. You are doing the maths of the sex with me, and at the end we will make the laws as they make the law of motion, the law of electricity. The same way we will find out the law. But this point is important, that what is happening here, that she wanted to seduce him, but the purpose of seduction was to draw out of him the information. Now in seduction, if seduction is an app, then the program or the internet or the software that is used in it is the sex. So this girl would have done sex with Mr. Einstein to draw out the information from him, because sex is the software. Otherwise, mostly with sex we use the term seduction. But there are different kinds of seduction too, psychological, like influencing somebody or manipulating somebody. But here we mean the sex because we want to understand the concept of the sex. Sex is a form or a kind of love. And if it were not love, then I would not have been making this video, because Jesus gives a new commandment. And it is this, that love one another. So I feel this my responsibility to speak on this term sex. But Jesus also has explained the real nature of the true love that many of us miss to understand, because we say sex by the name of the lovemaking. But Jesus has explained that your gloominess will transform into the gladness. But in this world, what we see, that I have noticed that it is happening in verse. In the first, while the act of the sex, there is a gladness one feels in sex, but it ends up in breakup. There are breakup songs everywhere. There is gloominess that follows this gladness, and imagine how one feels saddened when one realizes that this hot babe used him for power or money or to seduce him, or this lady feels ruined, that every man just enjoyed her body and then dumped her for some good option or something. And you see this gloominess that comes after the gladness. But Jesus is teaching that love one another, and his teaching is this, that your gloominess will transform into the gladness. And he has given a very beautiful form of love, that a woman is suffering because she is about to give birth to a child, but when the child is born, she becomes happy. All her gloominess transforms into the gladness by this love. But in our sex, what happens that people feel this gloominess. Why? So for that, there is a physics. You're understanding, we are doing just research. We are analyzing the thing, how it's happening, and then we will draw out the conclusion. So let's get back to this experiment of the teeth. The flow of the blood gave pain, but again, the flow of the blood by whatever means, like the sound of each other. When we are in the sex, then sound plays a great role. If we say something sexy, then it arouses us. Or the hormones also play the role. The breathing plays the role. The touch plays the role. But the point is that the blood flows, and without this flow of the blood, even erection cannot happen. The sexual organ get erected. It cannot happen without the flow of the blood. So you understand the importance of the blood. And blood is important part of the Christ also. That's why he is speaking of the love. But here we are understanding the blood is not bringing the pleasure into the bliss, from the grace to the glory, but opposite is happening in our flow of blood. In sex, it brings pleasure, while eating ice, it gives pain in the touch. The answer is just this, that the physics behind sex is love. And with everything else, it is not love. But most of the places when we get some blow somewhere, or we are hurt, then it gives pain. But sex is a kind of flow of blood in which pleasure comes, because sex is also a kind of love. But it is not a pure or complete love, but there's something missing from Jesus' love and this sexual love. But it is also a love. Otherwise, it would also give pain, because if we are hurt, then the flow of blood gives pain. But here, the flow of blood is giving the pleasure, because it is also a form of love. This is what we have concluded up to now. So the law of love is just one. Now I am presenting to you the conclusion. What we have found is, in this sex, with this reference, let's get back to the reference. 2 experiment, 1 parable, and 2 observation we have done. One is the life of the Albert Einstein. That girl was trying to seduce him to draw out the information. And one is the experiment of the flow of the blood, that is the behind our pain and pleasure. So what we find, that in sex there is only one law. The physics of love in general is that love wants to give, and it gives. The nature of love is that love gives. For God so loved the world, then what God did, God gives his only son. You believe in this statement or not, that's not issue here. But the point is this, that when God loved, God gave something. Jesus is on the cross, and he is talking to God, and he says, Father, in your hand, Father, in your hand, Father, in your hand, I give my spirit. And he is giving. So love is something that gives. In sex, even in prostitution, the act is of giving. When your partner touch your body, now understand what exactly is happening. When you and your partner is into the sexual act, either of you in the sexual act, the moment you touch, then the energy from your body will transfer from your body to his or her. To fulfill the gap, the blood like like in the when the water is flowing through the water, what is flowing is the current. The same way with the flow of the blood, this energy is flowing like a current, and to fulfill the gap, this current is making, then the blood flows, and when the blood flows, then all the sleeping source of energy also wakes up in our body, and the rush is so electrified, so electric, that all the concentration, all our feeling, all our imagination come in its flow. Then the energy rises high like a fountain within you, and it falls down like a splash. Have you seen in the fountain in any shopping center or somewhere we see, or in a park we see a fountain, that the energy rises up? This is what happening in our body, but then it is splashed down, and there your partner becomes like the base, who acts like to base to collect you the energy that is rushing from you, and it's falling down in your partner, and it is rising in your partner and falling down in you, and a form of convection current is developed. Convection current is like a circle, a circular energy, a permanent circuit is getting built between you and your partner. But now some other conclusion with it is this, that but if our sex is uncommitted, if we break the chastity with our partner, then the circuit breaks and short circuit happens. No matter if you develop another circuit with another person, that you get into the relationship with another person, but the circuit that has broken, because it has not ended, you have not forgotten completely your old partner, so there is complex circuit there, but it is broken and it causes the short circuit. And the same sex that is giving us gladness had started to give us pain, this short circuit, and we don't understand that how our life becomes a mess, becomes a garbage, just because of our uncommitted sex. If you have your partner and you are very committed to your partner, then this circuit is always there. Then your life becomes a pleasure. Then your life becomes like amusement park. You see that in amusement park, different kind of swing happens. Even roller coaster is there. But what happens is this, that there is a belt to hold you. Then it becomes the pleasure, like bungee jumping. Some belt is holding you. People jump from the helicopter because there is a parachute there. There is a thread that is holding you. But when you break this thread, then falling down, your energy that rushes up like a fountain, then there is no base to collect it, and then it falls down and it shatters your energy, and slowly you find that you becoming empty in your life, or God forbid, why should you become? But we feel this way as a human being. So committed sex and love, commitment, and Jesus says that I give you a new commandment: love one another as I have loved you. He adds that. He is not just saying love one another. He says that as I have loved you. And how Jesus has loved you? Jesus says that I have loved you. I am with you up to the end of the world, up to the end of the time. There is such commitment that He is with you eternity. When you love somebody, when you have sex with somebody, that's why I say that I'm not making this video for youngsters or teenagers. They are okay with them. They have this young bones in them, but that when young bone break, then it is very easy to heal that bone. But when we grow up, then if our bone break, then it is not easy to heal it so quick. So youngsters are okay, they will learn their lesson. But for us, when we want to, we claim ourselves as adult and we want to create our own reality, and then it is for us to understand that that Jesus said, love one another, but as I have loved you, with commitment. When you are with commitment, then no short circuit is going to happen. Then love will become amusement, joy, pleasure, and bliss. Otherwise, no matter how much you work, but it is going to be a mess. I gave example of Albert Einstein because one thing is certain, that in love things go out, draw out the information, because that person, if you are in love with that person wants to give you something. So in sexual love also, that person can give you the information or something, but that kind of love is only going to bring pain for everybody. It brings the short circuit. But if you develop a circuit, if you have somebody as the base of your fountain, or you become the base of that person's fountain, then this fountain finds this eternal bliss. And Jesus told to one woman at the well that she was married to 5 men, and the man she was living right now in this reference, in this context, is the one with whom she is not yet married. So she is not married, and she is. So Jesus teaches to this woman that of eternal spring, something eternal, this eternal circuit, this great teaching Christ has given to her. So thank you so much for being here. This is the entire physics of sex. There is nothing else. It is the simple. If in one sentence we need to tell something, is this, that the real nature of true love, the physics of love, is also this, that your gloominess will transform into gladness. And if it is happening inverse in your life, that you're feeling the great high in sex or in drugs or in anything, then if it ends in gloominess, then it is, you need to recollect yourself and find the correct path of your life. And if, no matter, even if something is missing in life now, but you are seeing that you are growing, you are developing, you are becoming more and more beautiful than yesterday, then you know that you are growing, you are on the right path. And this happens by loving one another, but as Jesus says, as I have loved you. How it is by commitment. If you want to give something in love, you will feel like giving something, then give the commitment, then give this assurance to your partner, then give this trust and faith to your partner that you are forever with him or her. And then in this way, your life and the life of everybody around you will become beautiful. And I always call you beautiful because I always pray for you, because I know you are beautiful, you are amazing, you are the blessed one. Thank you so much for being here. May God bless you.